Time for another board game review, and this time we have the game Valley of the Kings Premium Edition. This was sent to me by AEG and is designed by Tom Cleaver. When you die, you can take it with you. Take on the role of Egyptian nobles at the time of the pharaohs, preparing for their death and burial in the Valley of the Kings. Using an innovative deck-building mechanic with a crumbling pyramid, players fill their tombs with food, canopic jars, statues, amulets, and other treasures. The player who collects the most valuable artifacts in his or her tomb wins the game. Let me show you how to play. So in this game, you are trying to fill your tomb with the most valuable items. The premium edition comes with all versions of the game: base game, afterlife, and last rites. I'm just using cards from the base game here. But during the game, you're building up your deck and also adding items to your tomb. This is the crumbling pyramid. This is where you can purchase cards from. Whenever you purchase a card, other cards come sliding down, and then you replace the top. If you pick a card in the middle, you can choose which card comes down. Which the significance of that I will explain later. Every player starts with a starting deck. And on your turn, you can play cards. So you draw 5 from your deck, and each card in your hand can be played for only one of these purposes. You can buy a card from the base of the pyramid, you can execute the action listed on the card, or entomb the card, only one card per turn. You may buy, execute actions, and entomb in any order you wish. So, for example, as you can see, all these have different abilities, but if I want to buy, that's what these are for, these scarabs. If you don't buy a card that turn, you still have to sacrifice a card from the pyramid. So yeah, if the pyramid was not changed at all on your turn, you pick a card, you can sacrifice it, replace it in the pyramid. Or sacrificed cards go in a separate discard pile, which can be manipulated by some cards, so it's important to keep them in a separate pile. So if I play Shop T, I could swap 2 cards. So I could say, you know what? I'm going to swap this one and this one. So now that this card is on the bottom. Then I could spend 3 gold to buy this card. When you buy a card, it goes into your discard pile. Then these would fall down, like I mentioned before. And then finally, I could choose once per turn to entomb a card. So if you entomb this, you place it in your tomb. So now note, since I spent these cards as gold, I can't use the actions on them, and I can't entomb them. So you have to choose for each card how you're going to use them. Now, how entombment works is you're going to put this card under your tomb, and this can no longer be used by you during the game. It can't be used for actions or gold. It's basically out of your deck. But at the end of the game, this will score points for you. In this case, it'll be 1 victory point. The reason why you want to entomb cards is because at the end of the game, you score all the cards in your tomb, not cards in your deck. Meaning, if you have a really powerful deck but no cards in your tomb, you're not going to be doing very well at the end. The game ends when there are no cards left in the stock, no cards left in the pyramid, and all players are taking the same number of turns. Then it's time for scoring. How scoring works is, as you can see, all the different cards have different sort of colors and types. In this case here we have sarcophagi, we got books. And so what you do is you look in your tomb. Everything else is worthless, but you look at your tomb and you count how many different cards in each set you have. Let's say I had 4 different canopic jar cards. Then what you do is you square the result. So if I had 4 of them, 4 times 4, that's worth 16 points. And you do that for each set of cards. However, duplicates are worthless. So if you have 2 of these, unfortunately only 1 of them will count in your tomb. So it's important to keep track of what's already in your tomb. There are also special unique cards that are worth just a set amount of victory points, like the boat here is worth 4 points. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. Once you've either bought, executed actions, or entombed cards, you discard the cards in any order in your discard pile, draw 5 cards, and that's the next person's turn. And all you're doing is just buying more cards, playing them to get more cards from the pyramid, and the cards get more and more powerful. So let me show you some examples of some of the cards and what they can do, besides what they can buy with. There are level 2 cards that come out first, like Book of Traversing Eternity. If you bought a card this turn, take another card with a lower cost. That gets you more cards. Statue of Sobek. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Discard one, entomb one, put one on top of an opponent's discard pile. This gives you an extra entomb action, which is nice. Outer Sarcophagus. Put a card from your hand on top of an opponent's deck, and then draw a card. You can give them a garbage card. And then you have some more powerful level 3 cards that show up. The Hopi Canopic Jar. Discard a card. Take the card with the lowest cost in the pyramid. Book of the Heavens. If you have 5 or more cards in your discard pile, entomb one of them. Statue of Isis. Take a card with the cost of 6 or less. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. Buy cards, play them for actions, and entomb them in your tomb for scoring later. At the end of the game, it almost becomes a race to entomb as you realize you're about to be done with the game. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I was actually kind of surprised by how much I enjoyed this game. At first glance, I wasn't super crazy about the theme. I thought it seemed dry to me, but then you start playing it, and you realize, first off, how elegantly simple the game is to play. All you do is just play the cards for 3 different actions. But then the whole entombing concept is very clever. It reminds me of a very thematically different deck building game, Tanto Cuore, which I reviewed in episode 113. Which that game had the chamber system where you could put your anime-made cards in a separate chamber that would score you points at the end of the game. That concept was something I thought was really cool, and then you have this game where pretty much the entire game is centered around that concept, which I actually think is great, and goes really well with the sort of Egyptian noble theme. What makes the concept so great is, unlike other deck builders where you can just kind of buy lots of powerful cards and just steamroll, it won't do you any good in this game if you don't bank them for points. Every turn is this balancing act of, okay, should I use these really powerful abilities or buy powerful cards? But, 1 entombment per turn, I should do it because if I don't, they're gonna get farther than me in the scoring. How can I do all these things at once? It becomes this very fun but tense juggling act. Like a bear preparing for hibernation, every card that you save and store counts in this game. And watching the flow of the game shift from, at the beginning, everyone's just buying tons of cards to make their deck powerful. But at the end, it becomes this mad rush of entombment. Like, okay, I entomb. As you're shoving all these items you have purchased into your warehouse of death at the end is really entertaining. On top of that, already clever concept, what makes the game extra brain itchy is that the cards can get intoxicatingly powerful. It's hard to make sure all aspects of your game are fun, but in this game, buying powerful cards, playing powerful cards, and banking those powerful cards are all equally satisfying to do, which is no small feat. The premium edition includes 2 extra sets beyond the base game. So there's a lot of swapping you can do to make your games unique. It comes with a randomizer deck if you like to, make sure your game is completely random. And also it comes with, I didn't show this in the video, but like sleeves for all the cards, which is, I don't think I've ever seen that in a game where it gives you the sleeves. So yeah, presentation-wise and content-wise, it's nice. This is a really solid deck builder, and I'm surprised more games don't borrow that entombment concept, because I personally think it's a really ingenious thing of like, okay, you have those powerful cards, and they are great to use, but you gotta bank them for points. I love that. I thought this game was great. I really, really liked it.